This is From the Ground Up, and I'm Lindsay Smith here with Kristen Bernard. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Are you ready?
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
I know. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for doing this with me.
You're so welcome.
So tell me about where you are right now in real estate.
So I have a team
Yeah.
here at Keller Williams South Park called Empower Home. And we are an expansion team with Sarah Reynolds, and who's amazing. And so we are 12 agents deep, looking to add on a few more.
Yeah.
And serving a lot of buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
In Charlotte.
How did you get started in real estate, Kristen?
Not intentionally, if you can believe it.
No way. I had no idea.
Really?
No.
No, not intentionally. I was a teacher. And
like so many great mega agents
that's
are.
what I was told, right? I was told teachers make the best realtors. That was after I became a real estate agent. But I was told that. I was like, oh, well, that's good. But yeah, no, I went to college and got my education degree. And I was going to save one child at a time.
Yeah.
I was gonna change the world.
Yep.
And so I got my degree. I have a master's degree in education.
Do you really?
Yeah. So I was literally all in to change the world, one kid at a time. But I taught here in Charlotte in Title 1. So up off Remount Road. And if you can imagine, 21 years old. With my red hair, all the things people they know. Yeah, it was quite interesting. But I met some of my best friends, even to this day. Even some of my best real estate clients to this day. But I was teaching, and about 8 years into the system, my husband at the time, he's a real estate appraiser. And I was just intrigued. I was like, tell me more. I want to know more. Why did you do this? Why would you do that? Tell me about this. And back then, our MLS system was called Tempo. I don't even know if
I wasn't even here when it was no.
And so I was like, leave your login for me. Leave your Tempo login for me. And finally, he looked at me one day and he was like, dear God, I cannot work. You need to go get your own real estate license so you can get your own login. And I was like, And I was a teacher and I had the summer off. And that's exactly what I did. I went to real estate school. I went to the Allen Tate School of Real Estate. It doesn't even exist anymore.
No, it does not.
And I had a phenomenal teacher, and I love to learn. And so I went to school that summer really not thinking this is where I would be, 14 years later. But... or even 16 years later. But yeah, so I went, and then I came back, got my real estate license, and honestly just started talking about real estate to the teachers, the administration, to different people that I work with, never thinking I would make a career change at all.
Yeah.
At all. And I did that for 2 years. And by the end of the second year, I had made more income in real estate, just part-time, doing what I loved on nights and weekends because I was in the classroom 5 days a week. And
did it feel part-time? I love when agents are like, I'm going to do this part-time. And I'm like, let's be real. Is it really part-time or our famous word, like jobs. It's dual career for a reason, right?
Yeah, I had 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And I literally, by the end of the second year, my income had surpassed in real estate what I was making as an 8-year veteran teacher with a master's degree and all the things. And I came home and I was like, I don't think I'm going back to the classroom. And he was like, I'm sorry, what?
Where did that come from? That's not what he thought you were going to do when he said, go get your own login.
I'm benefits and insurance and all the things. And I literally was like, failure's not an option. And my passions have shifted. And I'm doing this. I'm going all in. And failure's not an option. And here we are. And did I mention it was 2008?
Oh, that's a perfect time to start real estate.
Yeah.
It's a perfect time.
Yeah, so 2008 was when I got my license. 2010 was when I left the classroom.
Do you think that getting your license in 2008, because a lot of the people that I talk to who have gotten their license in 2008, now we've gone through like a really different shift in 2023. Do you think that taught you some life lessons for the last year?
Yeah. I had rose-colored glasses on, and I didn't know what I didn't know. So to me, this was this was what you do.
Right.
I mean, and I think I had maybe in the back of my mind, maybe the safety net of, I'm still a teacher, but I'm doing this, right?
Sure.
And so I went all in and literally looked up and was like, gosh, if I can do this and love it. And I fell in love with serving other people through real estate.
Right.
Yeah.
So just a shift is how you were going to save the world.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
You were going to help people instead, get into a home.
Yeah.
It's like one of your most basic necessities is housing.
Yeah.
And so that's
True.
true.
I haven't thought about it like that. Yeah, and one of my top strength is optimism.
Okay.
Finders. And so I think it's one of those where I always, no matter if it's a shift, no matter if it's a down market or if it's, a client that's just, just running us hard. I mean, I'm always glass half full.
I love that.
Yeah.
So with that kind of knowing who you are in that aspect, and a lot of agents came in 2020 because our world shifted in 2020 and a lot of people went remote and we could get our real estate license online. And during that time, I always say we were in the lead receiving business.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because deals fell in your lap. Anybody and everybody was looking for a realtor.
Oh, yeah.
So
we actually made it look really easy.
We did that to ourselves, didn't we? We made it look like so much fun and like the quickest, easiest way.
We ride around in pretty cars, we open doors, we're like slinging our hair and, wearing, the finest clothes, and it's hard work.
It is hard work.
Yeah.
And then 2023 kind of hit us with, another shift, not good, not bad, just another thing to live through. So for agents who came in 2020 and then are still trying to really find where they need to be right now, what would you tell them? Especially with that optimistic, personality, the way that you look at the world, what would you tell them?
That's a great question. Hard work works, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think you have nothing, especially in real estate, nothing comes easy. I don't care. Those of us that make it look easy, it's kind of the, what is it, the visual where the mountain, you just see the top and underneath is everything else, or
that you did to get there.
Yeah. Like you got to be consistent. You just got to keep showing up. You got to keep doing the work.
Yeah.
And those things will come, but nothing comes easy.
No.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Doesn't matter at all.
It's work.
It's work.
It's work.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And hopefully your work is your passion, right? Like hopefully you're passionate about it. And if you're not, go find something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Because if when the hard times get hard, if you're not passionate about it, it can I say the word suck? It's gonna suck, right?
Yeah.
That's where, to me, I knew, especially in the class, my passions had just shifted. Not that I didn't love teaching and didn't love, changing those children's lives, but my passions had just shifted. I wasn't showing up as my best self, and it was one of those where I was like, okay, I hear this, and that's where failure isn't an option, right? And so I was like, I'm going to go follow my passion despite what is happening in the real estate industry, and the world feels like it's falling apart, but I'm going to go do it. And we did.
So would you say your biggest moment, your biggest I've made it is when you were making more than your salary as a teacher too? Or have you had multiple I'm here, I've made it?
That's a great question. That was probably a very eye-opening thing for me. I can do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When you love something this much, this is what can come from it.
Right.
It was never my goal to leave the classroom or to make X amount of dollars or to do this. It really just, I think, my love for people and then obviously my love for real estate just kind of came together, and I was like, look what happens when you follow your passion and you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
So I think there's been a couple of those moments, honestly.
What are some other big ones that kind of stand out for you?
So I had an amazing partner.
Yep.
Beth Miss Shuey.
Yeah.
And
she's fantastic.
She's amazing.
I always say I want to be like Beth when I grow up because I just love not just what she's created in her business, but who she shows up genuinely in everything that she does in her life.
Yeah.
And she's real and she's honest and she's compassionate. So I always say, like, I want to be Beth when I grow up. And Beth always looks at me and says, no, you don't.
Beth always said, do as I say, not as I do. Right? Oh, yeah.
Don't do what I'm doing because I don't know what I'm doing. And then you look and you're like, yeah, you do. Yeah. And you're doing it really well.
She follows her heart.
I know.
Right? She loves people and she's so passionate. But I was here at South Park as a single agent, and I approached Beth when I had heard she was looking for a buyer's agent, and this was many years ago, and she didn't know me from anybody. And I was like, I hear you're looking for a buyer's agent, and I would like to talk to you. And she was like, I'm sorry, who are you? Like, what are you doing? And honestly, it was one of those, give me 90 days, let's see if this works. And Beth and I ended up being the number one team in the Carolinas for 3 of the 5 years we were together. Yeah. And it was one of those moments where I learned so much from her. I was able to truly, kind of perfect and work on and fail forward, and she's the biggest encourager and cheerleader, and so much of that comes from her and what I learned in those years with her. And I remember walking across that stage for the first. I didn't even know that even was an option when I got into this business, right? And so and thought, wow, look at what all these people in this room have done. And then I got to be a really small part of it, which was really, really cool. So
well, and I think you continue to be a small part of, like, so many people's lives. Kristen, you're like one of the top 50 in our entire association. Like, did you ever think...
No.
Back when you were in the classroom, like, did you ever think that that's where you were going to be?
No. And honestly, it's one of those where I don't even look at those things. I don't even know that I would have known that. So thank you for sharing. But it just goes to show, and I still probably should look at numbers more than I do, but I just don't. Like, I am one of those where you show up, you suit up, you love your people, you love your clients, it never feels like work.
Right.
And so I tell Glenn at times, I'm like, if it ever feels like work, we're done. Or I'm going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't.
Right.
And so I love that. And so I think, again, it just goes to show, just whatever you do, just be all in.
Yeah.
Be all in.
Yeah. And you guys have really started to create that with Empower Homes, too. Yeah. That's been a fun journey for me to watch with you guys. So... Empower Homes is one of Keller Williams' biggest teams, if not the biggest. Yeah. So how did that conversation, how did that dream start for you guys?
So Sarah Reynolds she's a force to be reckoned with, right? She's the number one team in Keller Williams female-led, right? And so it's fascinating. And honestly, my MAPS coach is how I got to meet Sarah. And even, I've always watched Sarah from afar, and she was a mom of 3, and she had big business and bigger lives, and all these things. And my MAPS coach at the time was like, hey, so Sarah Reynolds is doing a peek behind the curtain. I think you should go. And I was like, oh, honey, we're not like we can't run like that type of organization. Like, we are small but mighty. And she was like, I understand. So go take back one thing she's doing. Go peek behind her curtain, bring back one thing, and we're going to implement it. And I was like, oh, that's fair.
That's
right?
doable.
Yeah, it's doable. So we did. We went up to DC, which is where we are headquartered, and that's kind of our hub. And, we did. I got to peek into Sarah's world, and I got to see kind of how Empower Home really works behind the scenes in so many ways. And so we did. We came back. We implemented one thing. We began to see change in our business within 6-12 months. And honestly, our worlds just kind of collided, as Gary Keller said, as the market was shifting. Like, those of you who are running market centers and you're running places, be open to these expansion teams. Be open to these bigger teams. Be open, because the market's going to shift. Yep. And things are going to change, and you need these people. Yeah. Right? You need these people. And it was one of those where it wasn't even that. It was Sarah and I finally sat down at family reunion, and we were supposed to have breakfast, and then breakfast didn't get ordered, or it was ordered but it didn't show up, and so she's like pulling bars out of her bag, and I'm like, oh, I'm fine, it was this most, and I'm sitting across from, and I thought, she's so normal, she's so real, and it was one of those where we just shared our stories, our passions, why I'm in this business, why I love what I do, and our values aligned, our visions aligned, and she was looking to move into the Carolinas, and it was honestly a beautiful kind of, what's the word? It was really just this togetherness that we felt, that I thought, man, I can change more people's lives with the help of Sarah, and she can change our lives in so many ways, and we can make a bigger impact on the people here in Charlotte, not just through buyers and sellers, but from a charity aspect, from a worthy cause aspect. And so it really was just kind of and we courted for a long time to make sure that this was, what we wanted to do, and it was a yes from the beginning.
Yeah. All right, so you took one thing back from that very first peek behind the curtain. Yeah. What was it that you took back? Do you remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember.
So, what did you take back from that?
Back then, we called it blue envelope is what our team called it, but we basically would, if you've heard of the golden letter.
Yeah, sure.
It was very similar to the golden letter, but Sarah kind of had a different script around it, a different kind of what you said when that seller called you that got that letter. So basically you're targeting sellers who maybe aren't on the market yet.
Right.
You're actually truly being a home hunter for your clients.
Yeah.
Right. Going above and beyond. I even took it a step where I was showing up on doorsteps with flowers, handing them this letter personally, not just in the mail.
No way. Kristen, that's huge. Yeah. That's not something that a lot of people would do, but that just goes to show, like...
I made a weekly trip to Trader Joe's. I bought whatever was their little,
those cute little bouquets that they
whatever
make.
It was outside, and I would get 10 to 12, and it was my mission to truly kind of look at what my buyers' needs were, various buyers at the time, and I made letters and personally, wrote them, and then literally knocked on doors with flowers. And you don't know me. And if you've ever thought about selling your home, right? And it's crazy, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah, because
not all the time, but it worked. Yeah.
That's like guerrilla marketing. That's my favorite thing. Yeah. Like doing something that's going to stand out, but that's authentic to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I could literally see you showing up to a friend's house with that same bouquet and just like loving on your friend the exact same way. Yeah. Like that was so authentically you, and then you played that in your business.
Well, and it was always from a place of like, your home is beautiful, and like I know you love loving, you love living here too. Have you ever thought about selling? And they're like, why do you ask? And then it just most of it led to conversations. No one ever kicked me off their porch. No one ever, they all took my flowers.
Of course they did.
So that was one of the things. And so, and our business began to grow from that one thing we brought back.
I'm sure it would.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would. Yeah. So what does it look like now for you coming at the end of 2024, going into 2025? What are some of the things that you're looking forward to doing?
Business or personal?
Both. Oh my gosh, both.
Well, I have 3 teenagers in high school.
I know you
right
do.
Now, so I'm looking. So this will be an interesting. It'll be an interesting Christmas, and we're starting college tours.
Yep.
And
because you have a senior right now.
Junior.
You have a junior. Okay.
I have a junior, a sophomore, and a freshman.
Wow.
And then a 7th grader.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, just I feel like time is flying, and so I'm just trying to soak it all in as much as I can amidst the hormones and everything
and all of the fun and the mom's not cool and I don't really.
But then
want
this week I am, so
right.
But last week I was not.
No, that's typically how it goes.
Yeah.
So you're starting these college searches.
Yeah.
What's like the big piece that you're trying to, biggest piece of advice you're trying to give your junior that you're not going to make it like, because, you know, if you tried to like act like it was advice, they don't want to listen to it.
I know.
So what's the biggest thing that you're trying to get them to like glean from you as you go through all of this right now?
I want, and this is for all of my kids, right, too, but I just want them to find a place where they can be themselves.
Yeah.
Just like you talked about being authentic. Like, don't do something because someone told you to do it, or don't go somewhere because you think that that's where, you know, you should go, or your friends are going, or this. Like, just, you know, find what makes your heart, and maybe it's not college, maybe it's a totally different path, and that's okay too. We have to have a plan, you know, but let's be authentic to you. Like, don't listen. There's so much pressure, and there's so much, you know, they have to do this, or they've got to get this, and I'm like, it's okay if you don't. Yeah, you can write your own story.
I know.
So I think that's the biggest thing, is because we can get so caught up in what is everyone else doing, and oh my gosh, I should be doing this too, and no, you don't.
Makes me glad I didn't have social media as like a senior or a junior to like, you know, obviously we use it so much in our business now, and
I didn't even have a cell phone in college.
I didn't get one until my freshman year. Yeah. And that's because I was from Connecticut living in North Carolina with no family down here in college, and my mom was like, "You never answer the dorm phone," and I'm like, "No,
I'm not here.
I'm never here. Like, what are you expecting?"
We had to go get our film developed at, you know, CBS. That's what I spent the money on.
That was my first job, was developing your little 35 millimeter films. Oh my gosh, that was my first job.
Crazy things.
I don't know if it's better to be digital now or not, but like.
Well, I would literally spend money, my college money that my parents would give me every month. Like, I think half of it went to developing film, and you didn't know what was on it, right?
Didn't,
half of it
you didn't
couldn't
know.
even like make out, but. Yeah.
And the little, like, the toss-away ones that were so popular. I think I still have a couple of those that are undeveloped upstairs in a box I found during one of our moves that is just, like, hanging out. And I'm like, do I do it?
Yes.
Or do I just, or I've got, like, the CDs that you used to make at CVS.
Burned.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, or even like the picture CDs, like what's on some of those.
I never had a picture CD.
I don't have a computer that could take it. Like,
isn't that crazy?
So I don't even
how far things have come.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, so much of and our kids look at us like, what? What do you mean?
I know.
Yeah, but my son asked me the other week if when I read books, did I read them by candlelight when I was growing up? I was like, no, we had electricity.
Are you sure?
Thanks for asking.
Are you sure?
Yeah. We're trying to like limit screen time and some of those things, and so I was like, you know, there's so many things you can do. Like, you can go read. You can obviously do homework. You know, whatever. And he was like, well, what did you do as a kid? And I was like, well, I spent a lot of time outside. Like,
we went outside all the time.
Yeah. We went outside.
We bike rode.
And I talked about reading, and he was like, what, by candlelight? And I was like, no, we had electricity.
Yeah, he's just being mad because you're like, go learn something. Go get off your phone. Yep. Don't let TikTok be your only source of education.
Yep.
That's too funny. So what are you going to do? What's 2025 shaping up for you to be like business-wise?
So obviously we're looking for agents.
Yeah.
You know, we being here in Charlotte, we're right close to South Carolina.
Yep.
So a lot of our appointments, this year, 25% of our appointments that we gave our agents were in South Carolina.
Really?
So, and right now I don't have enough South Carolina agents. And so
why do you think that was, that's such a high...
I don't know. I don't know if it's taxes. I don't know if it's you can get more bang for your buck. Well, as Charlotte grows, right, there's no more land.
No.
There's no more land. And so we're all pushing out. And, you know, I think there's beauty in some of that, too, of getting a little more space, getting, you know, that pace of life gets a little slower.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I've become my hometown realtor, not on purpose, but it's been, you know, I grew up about an hour and 20 minutes south of here in South Carolina.
Yeah.
And it's become, I mean, I have done a lot of business down there this year. And it's not people local. It's a lot of people moving here from out of state, from different parts of North Carolina, and maybe they work in Charlotte or Matthews, but they don't mind commuting in because it means they get more space, they get more land, they get everything. So I don't know if it has something to do with that. We're going to look into some of the data behind it to see if we can figure it out, but it's been interesting to see that push
That's very interesting. I wouldn't have thought it would have gone into South Carolina. I thought it would have spread out more east and west wise, and even north, right? I feel like we're seeing a lot more people.
We track our appointments and where our appointments come from, and so one of the unique things about our team is that we set appointments for our agents, right? So that lead gen piece is done for them. And so we set appointments for them, and so a lot of 25% over the last 6 months have been in South Carolina.
So you need some more South Carolina agents as soon as possible.
So if you're listening and you're licensed in South Carolina, and
come help Kristen.
It's one of those where we live too close to the line not to.
I agree.
We live too close not to.
I agree.
It's missed opportunity. So if you're not licensed, I'll happily take your referrals because I am licensed in South Carolina.
That was one of the before I even did my post licensing. Because back then I could go and get my South Carolina license without my post licensing. Now you got to take your post licensing, but I did it long before I ever even bothered.
I did it. I got it right after my license, and I honestly mailed I think $110 check to the South Carolina Real Estate Commission, and that was it.
I know.
And I think now it's a little more complicated.
Now, and I feel like just when you think you've got it figured out as to what they're going to do, then they're like, oh, wait, just kidding. Now let's do this instead. I remember when they brought out fingerprinting for South Carolina, and I was like, wait, you want me to go to South Carolina just to do fingerprinting?
Yeah, that wasn't part of mine. If it ever lapses, though, which it will not, I would have to go and
do all of that. No, I'm so grateful. What is it going to look like? You guys are a really big one for giving back to charities. Right? And Go Gen Go is one of your
That's
big...
Right. It's our worthy cause.
Yes. Yeah. So what's it going to look like for you to partner with them next year?
So Sarah's mission is that, and it's our mission too, but as Empower Home grows and as we grow, our big goal is to give back $1 million in every city that we're in to our worthy cause. Right? And so that honestly, it's not something we just say, it's something that we want to do. So a portion of every commission that Empower Home makes, we give back to Go Gen Go. And so obviously, they're helping women going through breast cancer with their household needs, their bills. We sent kids to summer camp whose moms were going through treatment last summer. And so there's just, and men too, right? There's so many needs here locally. So last month, and this was not in December, but in November, we were serving around 84 women.
Wow.
And it changes every month, and obviously the needs are growing and getting bigger, but if we can just be a small part of that. So again, it's to be involved with them. On a monthly, quarterly basis. We'll continue to give back every single month. So the big Run Gen Run 5K will be in March. And so those dates, I think it's March. It's usually March or April. I'll have to look and see. But so that'll be coming up, and then Cheers Gen Cheers in the fall. So there's just lots.
What is that one?
It's like at a brewery. And they've rented out different places, but it's just a fundraiser, raffles.
That's fun. Like a big social. I didn't know that they did that.
So that's always in the fall.
That'll be fun.
So Run Gen Run in the spring, and which is here in South Park.
Which is awesome to see everybody.
And then Cheers Gen Cheers. So an Operation Spread the Joy is happening right now where women can apply for like Christmas presents, or who are really struggling, this time of year, that want to provide Christmas for their children. And so they just had a big wrapping party on Sunday where we're wrapping all the gifts, and then Go Gen Go will begin to deliver those to the recipients in December.
Do you get your kids involved with you on that stuff?
Yeah, we try to get them involved as much as possible. Right? As much as possible. The world is bigger than just us.
No kidding.
Right? So, anything that we can do to show them that is important. Absolutely.
If you had to start all over again from the ground and work your way up, would you change anything? Would you add anything? Would you do anything different?
No. I mean, that's the easy answer, right? But it makes you go back. I think every lesson, every setback, and it's not as easy as it looks all the time, right?
No.
And so it's messy, and it's all the things, and it all makes us who we are, though. It's
Yeah.
part of our story. It's
Yep.
written. It's written on our hearts. It's written in our blood. So, no, I wouldn't change it. Obviously, some of the hardships. Nobody would want to.
Yeah, we'd love to give those up. Yeah, yeah.
But I think it makes us better in the end,
It does.
right? It makes us better. So, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And I think that probably early on, you're always wondering, well, I can do that, or I want to do that, or how do I do that, or, well, if they're doing this, I should be doing this, and that's easy to happen. Especially in real estate, you see, with Instagram and Facebook, and it's everyone's highlight reel.
Yep.
And so it's don't let comparison take your joy away, because it's easy to happen. So just stay focused.
Do what makes it best for you.
Use a 411.
Sometimes, listen, that's one of the best tools that we have here. And I don't know that people know how to use that the right way. It's definitely something that I've started implementing because I kind of went kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
I've never been the type of person to write down my someday goals or my 1 year goal or my 3 year goal. And I just kind of have floated. And now that we're really starting to focus on that 411 and really what does that look like for me, and doing it just on my personal side.
Yeah. Yep.
I keep teasing my husband, we're going to buy a laundromat next year.
I love it. Yeah. Glenn and I just went to the One Thing goal setting retreat.
Yes.
In Austin. And so we really went focusing on our personal lives.
Yeah.
With him being in leadership here at Keller Williams and me running the team, and,
Yep.
and I'm still in production, and
Yes.
I love it, and that's not changing. And so we get so caught up and we get so busy. He and I struggle with stopping and going, let's focus on personal and us and this, and so being in Austin for that really kind of forced us to just put our wants and dreams and goals and things on paper.
Yeah.
And it was awesome being with Jay and Wendy and just being a part of that. But
Because it's really funny. Every time I talk to new agents and I'll say to them, well, what's your goal for the year? Your first year, what's your goal? You know what the number always is?
100,000.
100,000.
Is it really?
It is always 100,000. And I'm like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know. That just sounds like a great goal. And I'm like, yeah, it sounds like a fantastic number. It really does for your first year. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that looks like? And do you know the why behind it?
Right.
Because in real estate, to really take home $100,000, that's a lot easier. It sounds big.
Yeah.
And the work behind it can be ginormous.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know what that's going to fund, besides just your basic needs, we know that everybody has to have enough to live, and I get that, but what else is it funding?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's not nearly as much fun
That's
either.
right.
And
That's
so
right.
really knowing what your personal goals are and what you want that to fund, and that's...
Well, and that 411 can lay that out for you, right? As you look at that every single day, and as
Which you should be.
Which you should be, right? And what am I focusing on today that's going to push this domino forward and push this domino forward? So, you should always, if you don't have a roadmap, right? If you don't have a plan in front of you, anything will get you there, right? Yeah. You're just going everywhere. So, have a plan, and I think. For agents sitting down and really thinking about why that is important to them.
I think that's been a big question that's been lacking a lot when people do their goals. And it's not just, because that's what I need to live, because you were living off of a teacher's budget, a teacher's salary for a while. I did too. Yeah. Nowhere near what I'm making now. And I could have never have dreamed the experiences that my husband and I have been on, and we've taken our kids on, but it was enough. Yeah. It was enough. But we don't get into
allow yourself to dream, right? Put those big goals out there. Put them out there. Put them on the wall. Work towards it. Put a plan together. Yeah. Right. And know your dollar per hour.
Correct. And I love what Empower Homes does with their your goals are truly lives worth changing. That's what you guys track, the lives you've changed. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's an honor to get to do what we do every single day, and I tell even my clients, and they become friends and family, and I'm like, you're with us now forever, right?
Yeah.
But, it's truly an honor to serve them.
Yeah.
Right. I don't ever look at it as anything other than an opportunity to change their lives and help them. And sometimes it's not always the best situation, or it's but to whatever story or whatever situation they're in, to truly hold their hand and stand shoulder to shoulder with them, and knowing that we're here to help, we're here to serve.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a couple quick questions for you. Ready?
I'm ready.
You hit a wall, like you're in that rut, you don't want to get up. What do you do?
Yep.
Do you have a song? Do you have a saying? Do you have a book? Like, what do you have?
Yeah, so I do have music. So I'm a 90s country fan.
I love that.
It's just true.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We could 90s karaoke until the sun comes up.
Really?
So, yes, and I would be able to sing every word. It doesn't matter who it is. So that's like my happy music is
90s country.
90s country. Who knew, right? Blasting. Yes. Yeah.
I think that's
Diamond
perfect.
Rio, I am all in.
Shania Twain?
Yeah, Shania's great.
Love it.
Yeah, like I'm a good, Little Texas, Diamond Rio.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, George Strait, who doesn't love him? Vince Gill, gotta love him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Who knew?
Who knew? I had no idea.
Yeah, so that's probably my, I get dressed in the morning to 90s country.
Pumping you up all day long.
I mean, not every morning, but it's most mornings. But yeah, so that's kind of my happy place of get focused. I do listen to the Empire Building podcast.
Yeah.
So Sarah has the Empire Builders podcast, so I listen to that some. But yeah, so music is a big thing for me. Glenn hasn't quite bought into 90s country, but
We need to get him better, faster on board.
morning,
You need
so
to
it's
like
fine.
that needs to be his alarm in the morning.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Let's just try it. Let's just do it. You've got access to his phone. Like,
Yeah.
just tomorrow
Yeah.
morning, make
Yeah.
it like.
It's just anytime it comes on, I just smile.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is priceless. What book gets you out of a rut? And it doesn't have to be like a self-help book, because some of my, like as a teen, I had this one book that anytime I was like teening, because I got no other word, I would go back to this one book. I don't know that I have that as an adult anymore, but
I'm reading a lot of parenting books right now. So, if you could see the stack beside my bed. So I don't know that that's a fair question right now, that I'm like reading something.
you're like in the throes of like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And these are interesting years, because I have a senior, a sophomore, and a 7th grader too, and like these are interesting years.
Yeah. So a lot of what I'm reading right now is on that. I'm reading Love Her Well. I don't know if you've read that one.
No, I have not.
And then Untangled.
Okay.
Those are probably my
Your top
top two right now.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just the season of life.
I know.
Right? Like it really is the season of life. So
Yep.
I leave a lot of my learning to podcast and to, obviously conferences and things like that.
Yep.
But
What's your favorite podcast right now? Besides Empire Builders, because listen, I love them too, and I love MREA. Those two have become my favorites.
that one's become a good one, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. There's a couple that I feel like I'm in a lot of. It's a lot of them are parenting. I think I'm worried I'm gonna screw everyone up, and so I'm like, let me just listen. Let me just listen today. Some of them I do listen to a few. Just real estate kind of related.
Sure.
Of just kind of fun, lighthearted.
Do you listen to any of like the true crime podcasts?
No, I did.
No.
I don't anymore. We did for a while, but
Yeah.
I've kind of moved off of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's finding time, just quiet time alone. And sometimes I am just in the quiet too,
which is so nice.
Take these 10 minutes and just be.
Yeah.
and kind of recenter. So.
I think people forget about how powerful that really can be.
Yeah.
And how hard it is.
Yeah. Well, and Sarah really encourages us to, schedule that white space on your calendar, right? Where it's truly time for you to just turn everything off.
Yep.
And that's where, and we forget, especially with today, and it's, it's work, it's kids, it's husbands, it's family, it's friends. And it really is just turning that off and just being.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like that's where probably the majority of our creativity and things like that will come if we just stop long enough and just listen.
Yeah. That's hard.
It's hard.
It's so hard.
It's something I work on every single day.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't do it well on most days.
No.
But it's something to strive for sure.
I love it. All right, last one. Ready?
Okay.
What's the really big dream that's still out there for you?
So back to my teaching background.
Yeah.
So I would love to teach around KW or just around, topics or different things, but my teaching soul is still there.
Yep.
And so whether it's KW or master faculty or whatever that might look like, it's definitely something that I want to do and want to kind of share lots of stories, experiences, all the things, but my teacher soul is still there, and so that's probably a big goal of mine.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sitting
You're
here with me
welcome.
and going through all of this. This was a lot of fun. I learned a lot too.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I love the blue letter. The golden letter, the blue envelope. I love that. I think we underestimate the power of just showing up.
Yep. Just show up, right? And whatever you do, just be consistent. So it was one of those things, and we started it, and then we started seeing things begin to come from it, and I was like, we can't stop. It has to be, and we went maybe 4 months before we ever got that first phone call back or that first person who so you will do things that it's not instant gratification.
Right. So imagine if you had given up at month 2.
Right. Yeah. Same with, and it goes back to farming. It goes back to anything that you do. You got to be committed. So we are quick to get shiny ball syndrome as realtors.
Oh my gosh, are we ever.
So pick one thing. And that was what my coach said. She goes, one thing.
Yep.
Because I could have come back with 10 things or 12 things. Because, there was a lot of amazing things we learned that day. And I literally it was one thing, and I thought, if I can just focus on one thing, and if we could do that in our businesses, imagine what could change. Right?
$100,000 wouldn't be the most basic thing you were thinking of anymore.
That's right.
Wouldn't even be it.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh,
Keep
thank
going
you for
forward
having
in 2024. It's been so much fun partnering with you and watching all of that,
I'm
from
honored to be here.
Boundary to Empower Homes to Carolina Legacy, and just watching you guys grow and expand.
Yeah, well, thank you. And our goal is to just, let's just keep serving others and and giving back and smiling, and just, you never know that person that you're going to interact with that day, or it's just a privilege to get to do what we do.
Keep changing lives.
Thank you for having me.
You're doing it.
Well,
You're doing it. Thanks, lady. I appreciate you.